For years, a quiet mountain nation sat trapped inside a continent at war. Its borders were surrounded. Its railways were measured. Its bridges were marked. And invasion orders were written, then sealed away. No armies crossed the frontier. No bombs fell from the sky. But the plan was real. And for a brief moment in World War II, it came dangerously close to becoming reality. By the summer of 1940, Europe had collapsed with terrifying speed. In September 1939, Poland was defeated in weeks. In April 1940, Denmark and Norway fell. By May, German forces pushed through the Netherlands and Belgium. And on June 22, 1940, France formally surrendered. In less than a year, Nazi Germany dominated continental Europe. Only a handful of countries remained untouched. One of them sat directly in the center of German-controlled territory. Switzerland had been officially neutral since 1815. For more than a century, it had avoided Europe's major wars. But by late June 1940, neutrality no longer meant safety. Germany controlled France to the west, Austria to the east, and Italy to the south. Switzerland was completely encircled by Axis powers. And in Berlin, an uncomfortable question emerged. Why should a neutral country be allowed to exist inside a German-dominated Europe? At first glance, Switzerland seemed insignificant. It had no coastline, no colonies, no vast oil reserves. But strategic value is not always obvious. Switzerland controlled key rail routes linking Germany to Italy. Its banks held foreign currency and gold essential for wartime trade. Its neutrality made it a hub for spies, diplomats, and intelligence networks. And its terrain offered something else. A potential fortress. Just days after France fell, in late June 1940, discussions began inside the German High Command. These were not emotional reactions. They were calm, confident calculations. By early July 1940, the concept had a name. Operation Tannenbaum. Fir tree. A plan to eliminate Swiss neutrality through military force. Unlike many German invasions, Operation Tannenbaum was not rushed. Planners studied Switzerland in detail. Population figures, railway networks, mountain elevations, fortification layouts. What they found was concerning but not discouraging. Switzerland was small, but it was prepared. In 1940, Switzerland's population was just over 4 million. Its standing army was limited. But Switzerland relied on universal conscription. Every able-bodied man was trained. Weapons were often kept at home. Mobilization could occur within hours. By July 1940, hundreds of thousands of Swiss soldiers were already deployed. And they were not preparing to defend the borders. They were preparing to abandon them. Swiss military doctrine accepted a harsh reality. They could not defeat a great power in open battle. So they planned to survive instead. This strategy was known as the National Redoubt. If invaded, Swiss forces would withdraw into the Alps. Bridges would be destroyed. Rail tunnels collapsed. Mountain passes blocked. An invader could take land but not control it. By the late 1930s, Switzerland had already prepared for this scenario. Fortresses were carved into mountains. Hidden artillery covered valleys and rail routes. Entire units trained underground. Many of these defenses were invisible. Germany knew they existed. And still, the invasion plan moved forward. By August 1940, Operation Tannenbaum was fully developed. German forces would attack from the north and east. Italian troops would advance from the south. Between 11 and 21 divisions were considered, potentially over 300,000 troops. Major cities like Zurich, Bern, and Geneva would be seized quickly. The Swiss government would be forced to flee or surrender. At least that was the expectation. But the plan rested on a dangerous assumption: that Switzerland would collapse like everyone else. Swiss strategy did not focus on holding cities. It focused on denial. If Germany invaded, Switzerland would destroy its own infrastructure. Rail routes through the Alps would become useless. Supply lines would fail. Occupation would bring no strategic advantage. Germany would gain territory, but lose time and resources. By late summer 1940, doubts began to surface. Switzerland's terrain favored defenders at every step. Narrow valleys created kill zones. Mountain weather limited air support. Heavy equipment struggled on steep roads. Any invasion would be slow and costly. At the same time, Germany's priorities shifted. In July 1940, Britain refused to surrender. By August, the Battle of Britain was underway. Aircraft were lost. Pilots were stretched thin. Resources were diverted. Switzerland offered no decisive victory, only prolonged resistance. Political risks added to the hesitation. Swiss neutrality supported financial systems Germany still relied on. Its banks facilitated trade and currency exchange. Its diplomats served as quiet intermediaries. Invading Switzerland risked alienating neutral countries, especially the United States. By late 1940, Washington was watching closely. Operation Tannenbaum was never officially cancelled. But by autumn 1940, it lost urgency. Plans were revised. Troop numbers changed. No invasion date was set. Then, in December 1940, Germany made its true priority clear. On December 18, 1940, Hitler signed Directive No. 21. Operation Barbarossa. The invasion of the Soviet Union. It would require everything Germany had. From that moment on, Switzerland no longer mattered. Switzerland offered no oil, no grain, no decisive battlefield. Only mountains and resistance. By early 1941, Operation Tannenbaum was quietly shelved. When German troops invaded the Soviet Union in June 1941, the decision became final. Switzerland remained mobilized for years. Bridges stayed wired with explosives. Fortresses remained manned. Soldiers trained underground, waiting for an invasion that never came. Even in 1942, at the height of Axis power, Swiss defenses stayed alert. The threat never vanished. It simply faded. What makes Operation Tannenbaum disturbing is not that it failed. It is how close it came. This was not fantasy. It was drafted, reviewed, and ready. Had Britain fallen? Had Barbarossa been delayed? Had resources allowed? Switzerland's fate might have been sealed. And if the invasion had occurred, it would not have looked like France. There would have been no quick collapse. Only destruction. Railways shattered. Alpine valleys turned into battlefields. A neutral nation reduced to strategic rubble. Switzerland survived World War II intact. Not because it was harmless, but because, at the wrong moment in history, it was too expensive to conquer. Operation Tannenbaum remains one of the war's most revealing non-events. A reminder that history is shaped not only by what happens, but by what almost does. And sometimes, the most dangerous wars are the ones that never begin.